Hi, I'm Jennifer Perrine, and I'm an editor at Airlie Press. As part of our editor's showcase, I'll be reading a poem by Sarah A. Chavez from her book, Hands That Break and Scar, which was published by Sundress Publications. When my sister came home crying again, I grabbed my baseball bat, the one I used for softball practice in the early afternoons when school let out. It's a good bat, an Easton, metal, with white gripping tape on the handle. I learned to use its heft in the store that day, on my dad's weekend, when he took us to Big Five Sporting Goods, and the young clerk with brown hair and light eyes kept smiling at me while he showed Christy soccer cleats. My dad actually picked it out, pulled it down from the rack full of so many colors and styles, a virtual metal rainbow. Another man, older, wearing plaid polyester pants, some nosy pervert just hanging around, said, "The most important factor to keep in mind, from Little League to the pros, is that buying a bat is a personal decision." "This one looks sturdy," my dad said, holding the bat at the barrel, loose and tentative, reverent, like the way you'd hold the blade of a knife, pointing the grip at me. I held out my hands, wrapped my fingers around it, let the weight of the fat barrel pull on my arms before I reared up my shoulders and swung, accidentally knocking over a plastic display case. Neon green tennis balls flew like radiated birds and bounced all over the store. The young clerk said, "That bat sure could do a lot of damage." And that's why I grab it now and head out the front door. I chose this poem because I admire how it moves us from this implied act of violence in the title, "When My Sister Came Home Crying Again," into an exploration of the bat itself. The bat that, if it weren't for that implied violence and pain, would be a tool for play, for sport, for enjoying the pleasure and the movement and strength of one's own body. But the poem reminds us that it's not just the inciting moment that's violent, and it's not even just the end result of what the speaker might do once they head out the front door that might be violent as well. It's also that nosy pervert. It's the sense that any instrument of joy could turn into a weapon, whether it's the bat or the blade of a knife, depending on who's wielding it, and depending on what the moment calls for. And I've been writing for some time now about violence and particularly about gun culture. And this is a poem that helped me to think more deeply about anger and what we do with it, and the choices that we do and don't have, and also how we repurpose our instruments. And on days like today, or in a time like the present time, I read this poem in one sense as a metaphor for poetry, how we might take something that's got its own complicated legacy, its own personal history of strength and beauty, and use it to do the necessary damage to narratives that would otherwise enact violence on us. So it's a powerful poem, and I hope you'll check out the rest of Sarah A. Chavez's work. Thank you for listening.